You're listening to The Philosopher's Note on Conscious Living. More wisdom in less time.
Hi, this is Brian. Welcome to The Philosopher's Notes on Conscious Living, How to Create a Life of Your Own Design by Gay Hendricks, Ph.D. At its simplest, conscious living is the art of feeling your feelings, speaking authentically, knowing your life purpose, and carrying out effective actions that contribute to your well-being and the well-being of others. The moment we commit ourselves to living consciously, we embark on a journey of wonder through the real world, on a sacred path of infinite practicality. I believe that committing to the journey makes us fully human. I believe also that wholehearted participation in the journey is our very best way of returning thanks for the gift of life. Life comes to us freely. We wake up one day and we're in it. Conscious living is the art of expressing gratitude for the gift of life by learning and loving as much as we can until the moment we're not here. End quote. That's Gay Hendricks from Conscious Living. As you know, if you've read the note on Gay Hendricks' great book, The Big Leap, Gay is a close friend and mentor of mine and now a business partner with Philosopher's Notes. It's a refreshing breath of fresh air to be in his presence and experience a human being actually living the truths he so passionately believes. Gay got his Ph.D. from Stanford the year I was born, 1974. He was a professor at the University of Colorado for a couple decades and has led people through over 20,000 counseling sessions over the last 30-plus years. It's amazing. And this book gives us a close look at his own life story, as well as some of his biggest ideas on how to live consciously. It's a fun, inspiring, and transformative read I highly recommend. I say we jump right in and turn our consciousness up a notch, or maybe 3. We'll start with the first big idea, the infinite quest. Quote, I believe that conscious living represents us at our best. When we humans are at our best, we celebrate the questing spirit in ourselves. We seek, we wonder, we invent, we make mistakes and learn from them. The quest goes on. When the questing spirit lives and breathes in us, we are safe to be around. We inspire creativity by our very presence. We are good times waiting to happen. End quote. We are good times waiting to happen. Sign me up for that. This reminds me of another favorite teacher of mine, Joseph Campbell. He tells us that a vital person vitalizes those around him, and that our quest, or hero's journey as he called it, is all about following our bliss and becoming alive, aka living consciously. Here's a little excerpt from his interview series with Bill Moyers. You can see the notes on the power of myth for more mojo. Moyers says this, in this sense, unlike heroes such as Prometheus or Jesus, we're not going on our journey to save the world, but to save ourselves. Campbell replies, but in doing that, you save the world. The influence of a vital person vitalizes. There's no doubt about it. The world without spirit is wasteland. People have the notion of saving the world by shifting things around, changing the rules and who's on top and so forth. No. Any world is a valid world if it's alive. The thing to do is to bring life to it. And the only way to do that is to find in your own case where the life is and become alive yourself. End quote. Love that. The next big idea, unexpected forms of magic. Quote, once I had committed myself to the path, I discovered an unexpected form of magic. A field of grace seems to form around us when we commit ourselves to something that satisfies our souls. Invisible pathways open up through the universe. We meet people who are on a similar path, and we are given forms of assistance that seem like magic. All these things happen as I open myself to discovering who I was and what my true purpose in life was. End quote. Well, it's impossible to read that and not refer to Joseph Campbell again, and to W.H. Murray, and how about some love from Tal Ben-Shahar, the Harvard professor who teaches the most popular class on campus and shares his positive psychology wisdom in his great book, Happier. We'll kick it off with Campbell and Moyers again. Moyers says this time. Do you ever have this sense when you are following your bliss, as I have at moments, of being helped by hidden hands? Campbell says, all the time. It is miraculous. I even have a superstition that has grown on me as a result of invisible hands coming all the time. Namely, that if you do follow your bliss, you put yourself on a kind of track that has been there all the while waiting for you, and the life that you ought to be living is the one you are living. When you see that, you begin to meet people who are in the field of your bliss, and they open the doors to you. I say, follow your bliss and don't be afraid, and doors will open where you didn't know they were going to be. End quote. I love that. I always want to cue a chorus of singing angels when I read that and when I read this one. So I realize I've quoted Murray probably 10 plus times in these notes. And if you've already read a lot of the other ones, you've already heard me share this one before, but I'm going to share it again. Fits so perfectly here. W.H. Murray says this: until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness concerning all acts of initiative and creation. There is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans, that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen events, meetings, and material assistance which no one could have dreamed would have come their way. I have learned a deep respect for one of Goethe's couplets. Whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now. End quote. Cue the angels again, and we'll move on to Tal Ben-Shahar from his book Happier. You can see the notes on that. He says this, quote, in 1879, Thomas Edison announced that he would publicly display the electric light bulb by December 31st, even though all his experiments had to that point failed. He threw his knapsack over the brick wall, the numerous challenges that still faced him, and on the last day of that year there was light. In 1962, when John F. Kennedy declared to the world that the United States was going to land a man on the moon by the end of the decade, some of the metals necessary for the journey had not yet been invented, and the technology required for completing the journey was not available. But he threw his and NASA's knapsack over the brick wall. Though making a verbal commitment, no matter how bold and how inspiring, does not ensure that we reach our destination, it does enhance the likelihood of success. End quote. So there you go. If we want to experience some unexpected magic, we've got to throw our knapsacks over the wall, commit, and let the invisible hands guide us on our quest. The next big idea is let go of the past. Quote, we keep ourselves so tied up in regretting the past and fearing the future that we don't have any energy left to figure out who we are and what we want to create right now. End quote. A key aspect of living consciously is to be present. We can't do that if we're constantly churning through the negative stories of our past. We've got to let it go and become present to the joy of this moment and the thrill of our glorious future. Throughout these notes, we've talked about the absurdity of going to a really bad movie again and again and again and again and again, or about trying to drive while looking in the rearview mirror. It just doesn't work. Let's reflect on that wisdom again and see if we can't shake the habit. First, how about some old school Vernon Howard wisdom from his classic, The Power of Your Supermind? See the notes on that. He says, quote, a chief cause of unhappiness is what I call mental movies. Mental movies are a misuse of the imagination. You know how it goes. You have a painful experience with someone, then run it over and over in your mind. You visualize what you said, what he did, how you both felt. As awful as it is, you feel compelled to repeat the film day and night. It is as if you were locked inside a theater playing a horrible movie. End quote. Imagine that. And then paying to go watch the movie again and again and again. Now, imagine driving somewhere while staring in your rearview mirror. It's not going to work, huh? Same with our lives. We've got to let go of the past and quit replaying the scenes we regret to open up to the possibilities of the moment, to look straight ahead. I'm repeating myself now, aren't I? It's deliberate. So how about you? Are you replaying a scene in your head again and again and again and again? Is now a good time to let it go? All right, the next big idea is being one-selved organisms. Quote, we are designed to be one-selved organisms. When all of the multitudes we contain within us are embraced in the fullness and oneness of our core selves, we are happy. We can work, we can love, we can invent and celebrate, all in the large and loving unity of our core selves. When we're operating as one-selved organisms, we can connect with the one self of our friends and family. End quote. One-selved organisms. I love that idea. Becoming a one-selved organism is what it's all about. We talk about it in our notes on Big Mind, Big Heart by Zen Master Genpo Roshi, and in the 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem by Nathaniel Branden, and in the Dark Side of the Light Chasers, and pretty much in every note we do here. Let's talk about those now. Genpo Roshi walks us through a process called Big Mind that's all about integrating the multitude of voices within us, and says this in his great book. You can see the notes on it. Quote, my understanding is that every aspect of the self, every voice, has its own innate wisdom. That if we would simply allow every voice to be heard, to be appreciated, and to be honored, we as human beings would live a much healthier, happier, and joyful life. That by denying or suppressing any aspect, we are creating a problem, both for ourselves and for others. Nathaniel Branden's 2nd pillar of self-esteem is self-acceptance. And he tells us that we need to make sure we don't have an adversarial relationship with ourselves, and that, quote, as a psychotherapist, I see nothing does as much for an individual's self-esteem as becoming aware of and accepting disowned parts of the self. The first steps of healing and growth are awareness and acceptance, consciousness and integration. And Debbie Ford's great book, The Dark Side of the Light Chasers, is all about mining the darkness of our consciousness to reintegrate the shadow elements and become fully alive / one-selved beings. She tells us, quote, we live under the pretense that in order for something to be divine, it has to be perfect. We are mistaken. In fact, the exact opposite is true. To be divine is to be whole, and to be whole is to be everything, the positive and the negative, the good and the bad, the holy and the devil. When we take the time to discover our shadow and its gifts, we will understand what Jung meant by the gold is in the dark. Each of us needs to find that gold in order to reunite with our sacred self. End quote. So how many selves are you at the moment? You want to reduce it to one with me? We'll become one-selved organisms. All right, the next big idea is Stoics rock. Quote, one historical stream of teachings on conscious living comes from the Stoics of Greece and Rome. These remarkable teachers developed a powerful philosophy of self-change. The Stoics lived in a time when a philosopher was a combination of therapist and inspirational teacher, whose province was the conscious encounter with daily life. Religion existed in that time too, but it served a different purpose. Religion was concerned with appeals and offerings to various gods ordained by the state. It really had nothing to do with leading a moral or effective life. Only later, when the rational sanity of Stoicism had been combined with the magical heart of the new religion of Christianity, would religion become the mixture of mystery and morality that it is today. End quote. Gay and I are both huge fans of the classic Stoic philosophers. Epictetus. Gay loves him so much he even adapted his classic text for modern times. You can check out a link to it in the PDF. So Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, who's my personal favorite. How can you not love an emperor philosopher? And Seneca, who was a contemporary of Jesus who came up with the literary style known as the essay and was a rockin' dude in his own right. As Gay says, quote, the Stoic ideal was simple. Live in harmony with the way things are. Let yourself resonate with your feelings and honor the feelings of others. Then act from the open space beyond all your feelings. The original Stoics tell us, let go of your beliefs and expectations of how things must go. Ground yourself thoroughly in reality. Then select carefully what you would like to change about the others, the world, or yourself. In order to change things, you must first embrace them as they are. End quote. I highly recommend our notes on Epictetus's Enchiridion, Aurelius's Meditations, and Seneca's Letters from a Stoic. For now, let's take a real quick look at some of their mojo, huh? Epictetus says this, we cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. Aurelius says, "Your mind will be like its habitual thoughts, for the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Soak it then in such trains of thought as, for example, where life is possible at all, a right life is possible." And Seneca says, "As it is with a play, so it is with life. What matters is not how long the acting lasts, but how good it is." There you go. Stoics rock. All right, the next big idea is 5 required lessons of the journey. Quote, 20,000 therapy sessions during the past 30 years have taught me something I now believe in my bones. We choose how gently we get our lessons by how open we are to learning. Life teaches us with a sledgehammer if we refuse to pay attention. It administers the same lesson with a feather tickle if we show a willingness to learn. The journey of conscious living might well be called a journey from requiring sledgehammer blows to allowing ourselves to be tickled into clarity. Learn the 5 required lessons and you can retire your hard hat. Instead of getting bludgeoned to death, you can tickle yourself to infinity. End quote. That's great. You'll want to check out the book for the full lowdown on the 5 required lessons of the journey. It's a great chapter that'll help us get tickled to infinity. For now, let's check out the highlights, the 5 principles. Number 1, feel all your feelings deeply. Always and in every moment, embrace what is real inside yourself and focus on what is real outside yourself. This is all one long quote. 2, seek your true self. Get your priorities straight. Focus first on who you are, then let your actions flow from this place of deep self-knowledge. 3, let go of the uncontrollable. The secret of happiness is knowing that there are some things you can control and some things you cannot. 4, we are all made of the same thing. When we go deeply enough into who we are and who others are, we will find our organic connection with divinity and theirs. 5, life is fullest when we're most true to ourselves. If you express what needs to be expressed within you, you will be happy and fulfilled. If you don't, you won't. That leads us to the next big idea. Choose goals or go with the flow. Both, please. Quote, many people get stuck in a dilemma when they think of changing their lives. They wonder, is it better to choose goals and apply their will to creating what they want in life, or to live goal-free and open to the flow of the universe? The secret is to do both. To live a full life, we must be open to the mystery and live a purposeful life within its spacious context. End quote. I love this. One of the biggest things I've done for my consciousness is learning to quit seeing everything as an either-or equation and open to the possibility of both and. I thank Ken Wilber and his crew at the Integral Institute for their introduction to this concept, and you can see my notes on Ken for more. But isn't it weird how often we think stuff needs to be either-or, particularly with our spirituality? Either I'm spiritual or I'm an entrepreneur. Either I'm a monk or I'm wealthy. Either or, either or, either or. Yeah. What about my spirituality is expressed through my work, and my wealth is a sign of my connection to the abundant flow of the universe? How about you? You have any either ors in your life you might want to say yes and to? It's a powerful move. In terms of goal setting and flow, Tal Ben-Shahar, the Harvard positive psychology happier dude from above, talks about this in his great book. He brilliantly describes 4 different archetypes and how they approach life, saying this, quote, the rat racer's illusion is that reaching some future destination will bring him lasting happiness. He does not recognize the significance of the journey. The hedonist illusion is that only the journey is important. The nihilist, having given up on both the destination and the journey, is disillusioned with life. The rat racer becomes a slave to the future, the hedonist a slave to the moment, the nihilist a slave to the past. Attaining lasting happiness requires that we enjoy the journey on our way toward a destination we deem valuable. Happiness is not about making it to the peak of the mountain, nor is it about climbing aimlessly around the mountain. Happiness is the experience of climbing toward the peak. All right, so back to you. Where are you at? Rat racing, hedonism, nihilism, happiness? Here's to happiness, where we set goals and go with the flow. That leads us to the final big idea, 100% committed versus no commitment. Quote, 99% commitment is not possible. We are either 100% or not committed at all. I was amazed to discover this because I had made a lifestyle out of tepid commitments that turned out to be non-commitments. I was just conning myself that I was partially committed. I had adapted to the pain of early rejection with the decision, don't play. If I didn't play, I wouldn't have to face losing. And if I were forced to play, I could always play half-heartedly. If I lost, I could say it didn't matter because I wasn't trying. It took me many years to realize that I wasn't even in the game if I was not committed. My body might have been out on the field, but my soul was on the bench. Soulless play is worse than no play at all. End quote. That is awesome. It reminds me of one of my favorite big ideas from Jack Canfield's great book, The Success Principles. You can see the notes on that. He tells us 99% is a bitch and 100% is a breeze. I love that. And he also advises us that successful people, this is a quote, successful people adhere to the no exceptions rule when it comes to their daily disciplines. Once you make a 100% commitment to something, there are no exceptions. It's a done deal, non-negotiable, case closed, over and out, end quote. So how about you? You kind of sort of not really committed, but kind of sort of pretending you are? Remember that soulless play sucks. Let's throw our knapsacks over the wall and really commit to living our greatest lives. That, my friend, is a quick look at a great book, Conscious Living. Let us take a peek at Gay Hendricks' bio, as well as some of the other notes I think you'll dig if you like this, and a handful of quotes from the sidebar. First, Dr. Gay Hendricks has served for more than 30 years as one of the major contributors to the fields of relationship transformation and body-mind therapies. Along with his wife, Dr. Kathleen Hendricks, Gay is the author of many bestsellers, including Conscious Loving, At the Speed of Life, and 5 Wishes. Gay received his PhD in counseling psychology from Stanford University in 1974. After a 21-year career as a professor at the University of Colorado, he founded the Hendricks Institute, which offers seminars in North America, Asia, and Europe. He is also the founder of a new virtual learning center for transformation, Gaia Illumination University. You can learn more about Gay at www.hendricks.com. And if you like this note, I think you'll also enjoy the notes on Gay and Katie Hendricks, The Big Leap, The Power of Myth, Happy for No Reason, The Success Principles, Happier, Meditations, Letters from a Stoic, The Enchiridion, and Big Mind, Big Heart. Let us take a look at some of the quotes from the sidebar. Quote, take charge can sound like a willful move requiring a lot of effort, but in this case it's not. Here, you take charge of your life by resonating in harmony with the way the universe works. Without question, fear is beyond our control. Herein lies the power and the prize. If you cannot control it, the only sane alternative is to relax into pure acceptance of it. Life is fullest when we are most true to ourselves. The space you feel in your body and mind feels seamlessly connected to the space at large in the cosmos. The space feels organically divine, as the drinking of water feels organically thirst-quenching compared to seeing the formula for water written on a chalkboard. And finally, my purpose was this, to expand in love and creativity every day, and to assist those who are interested to expand in their ability to be more loving and creative. There you go. Conscious living, how to create a life of your own design. That is the philosopher's note on it. Hope you enjoyed. And here's to expanding in love and creativity every day as we inspire those around us to do the same. Really hope you enjoyed. It's an honor to share with you and look forward to sharing more soon. See ya.
We hope you enjoyed this Philosopher's Note. Please go to www.philosophersnotes.com to download more.